Alright, guys, I don't know about you, but it's always about this time of the year where I'm reflecting at the past year and feeling like I'm missing out for not finding my winner, for example, or making the amount I wanted with organic dropshipping. But this year was a bit different. So I was able to find my winner 15 months ago, but it didn't look like a winner until probably like 6 months later. So looking back at it, there's a lot of lessons which I got to share with you guys. And for that reason, today I'm going to be sharing more like a speed run of all the lessons compiled into this video. So hopefully, whether you're looking for your winner or you're building your first brand organically or you're trying to scale it to 10k plus a month, this is for you. Okay, so that's my promise. And this non-guru video is going to be very transparent. The very first lesson is you need to be very delusional. You need to have a vision, because biggest the biggest truth is, regardless of what vision you got, okay, whether it's making 10k with branded dropshipping, whether it's with paid ads, organic, or any other side hustle, most of the time 99% of the people will either doubt you or they might make it look like they're supporting you, but deep down nobody really like applauses until they see the results. Okay, so you're better off having the vision for you. So keep it for yourself, don't share it to others until you start seeing some momentum. Because the problem is, if you have a very good vision and then you allow yourself to be, or your vision to be attacked by others, you're gonna be you're gonna make them throw this seed of doubt into you, and before you know it, whenever you start failing or not seeing results, or you catch yourself being weak for a moment, these seeds will grow in trees or forests of doubt. So you need to let doubt out of your mind. And how do you do that? You keep away all the negative energy, all the opinions, the doubters. So, one, you need to have a very good and strong vision, so a long term vision. And then the second one is being ignorant. Because I did a mistake where I listened to a lot of people, but still, I listened to them, but I didn't listen. Like, I took their opinions, but I didn't make it change my vision. So, my advice is don't take their opinions to begin with. So, either you take it and be an ignorant about it, or just like this is your mind, it comes and it deflects out of your mind. So, that's the best way to be approaching this game or any other online sort of hustle. So this is really important. And why do I say online hustle? Because the truth is, most of these fancy things like e-com, I'm not going to talk about other side hustles, but e-com in general, especially organic, it doesn't pay off and it doesn't look fancy until you actually make it work. So it's actually, a matter of fact, it's humbling for the most part. And that's what the problem with the gurus is. They don't show you the humbling part. They show you the cars, the rentals and stuff. But when you actually get started, you're going to be bombarded with reality, which is a very humbling start, where you need to actually pull up your phone and record very dumb pump and dump products until you find a winner, and then you make a lot of money. But yeah, that's why I'm not, this was supposed to be a speed run, but really important to focus on these two. Pick a product which has a long-term vision. This is what I'm linking it at. So we started with a mindset. Why? Because we're linking it to the product. I didn't just run. So I've been running pump and dump for 2 years prior to me finding my winner. So now I've been in the game for 3 years and a half, maybe 4 at this point. The first 2 were wasted, pump and dump. And then I decided to step back and actually think for once for myself, not following the shiny object syndrome where whatever is going trendy, like viral, I would just follow it and so on. Instead, I stepped back. I was like, okay, let me make a list of 20 proven concepts. Okay, so proven concepts of products. We're gonna get to the marketing later because there's two: product and marketing. So for the products, I said, let me make a list of 10 to 20 winning brands who has been running their product for more than a year, and preferably on Instagram, because TikTok is not that branded. Like, even if you have 100k followers, it's nothing. So find them on IG or Facebook or whatever, and that's what I did. I did like 10, 20, like a list of 20, 20, and then I just kept on filtering them based off, are they able to be marketed in different angles? Are they sustainable enough where I could run them for more than a year? So that's how I thought. Okay, this was 15 months ago. I was like, okay, I'm sick of testing these products for 2 weeks and they don't even look like I'm doing this seriously. Like, I wouldn't want to run a star. I remember this star product which was going viral. I don't know if you remember it. It's like the angry star. If you remember this product, I tested this. That's how humbling it was. So none of this works. Instead, I was like, okay, I'm gonna run this product for the next year, regardless of the outcome. I'm just gonna stick to it. And then you could run side products while running the main product. It's okay, but you need to have this one safe net product where you just run it regardless of the outcome. And how do you pick these products? You need to have a proven concept. So look around you. What has been what has been around for more than 6 months or even a year plus? Trust me, there's a lot of organic brands out there which has been running for a long time. So the first thought might be doubt, that you may say like, these are established brands, they have moved to paid ads, and there's no way for me to compete. I'm sure that's why most people don't start with it. I started. It didn't take me until like I would say maybe 4 months or 3 months until I actually like blew up. I think I generated over 350 million views on IG by now, probably 400, because I have like 2 accounts and so on and so forth. So it took me like 3 months to actually start seeing big results, but then I found another problem, which was reach. So reach, what do I mean by reach? Where is your content being sent to? Like, who is watching your content? And this is a big problem. So since we're talking about Meta, aka Facebook and IG, it's a very global platform. So you cannot really control much where the views are going, but there's a few tricks. So that's the biggest lesson which I'm about to share here. There is a few ways. You can change the way you market, but actually I'm gonna keep this as 2, because even if you have the best content but the worst account quality, your content gonna go to the wrong audience. So no, fix your setup first. So either use, I personally don't use a VPN, so you don't need to. So instead, create an account and then turn it into a professional account. Then you're gonna get a new feature in your professional dashboard on IG and Facebook, which says restrict country by age. This will allow you to limit the age up to 25, and this has solved the problem for me. This is the biggest sauce you're gonna gain today, because this has actually made me more than 20k. And if you have really poor reach, the only time this is worth doing is when you have a big IG account which has poor reach. So it's getting millions of views every day, but the views are low quality. So instead, limit the age to 25 on all the countries you think they are not familiar to your or relevant to your product. And it's gonna take a while. Okay, the algorithm needs to adapt to it and learn what fits best to your new content. So this is not like an overnight success thing, but it worked for me. Okay, so that's the first way to improve your reach. The second way is the marketing. So one trick you could do with marketing is obviously improve the quality, reinvest into your tools, get better lightings, but also make use of holidays. So for example, Christmas, I went really hard on Christmas. I've been probably marketing for Christmas since like start of October, which is considered very early. And what that did was it literally forced the algorithm to get me the right leads, which means people who are preparing to gift their loved ones around Christmas. So improve quality of your content, and then preferably change the angle around the holiday. So I always like to say pick a product which can be run in Halloween, in Easter, in Christmas, or any other holiday. So instead of running an advent calendar which is only valid for a few months or even weeks, instead run a product which can be gifted or giftable throughout the year. That way you are way safer in terms of what to run. And then thirdly, the post timing. Another big lesson I learned. This means a lot because on Meta, again, it's a global platform. So you want to think, if I post around this time, who's going to be awake to watch my content? So my rule of thumb is post around 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. CET. You could check that in your local time, and this is by far the best time to post because this is coming from trial and error. I've tried everything. I have had some of the worst reach. Guys, I got more than 350 million views, so I know how bad it can get. So trust me on this. If you're facing similar problems, you don't want to use a VPN like me, these are your best bets, and honestly, the quality of the audience can change a lot for you. Next. So now we've mentioned only 4, and holy, I mentioned a lot. I'm gonna try to be quicker next time. So for the next point, let's see. Multiple accounts. You need to have multiple phones, okay, and double down everything. So times 2. IG times 2. Facebook times 2. So these are the most important, and then comes, YouTube, Snapchat, and TikTok. This is, by the way, in terms of importance, in my opinion. You may argue Facebook is number 1, by the way. So Facebook, then IG, YouTube, Snapchat, and TikTok. That's my rating for them for organic dropshipping, and these are obviously all times 2. So you're gonna have 10 accounts to post every single day. If you have 3 phones, that's 15 accounts, and so on. So this is by far the fastest way to get more sessions, more sales, more everything. So if you can afford having multiple phones and creating different accounts, then you are considered literally on top of competition. If you can put in the work, that's the trick. You need to put a lot of work to do that. Next is the environment. It's very related to this because it has to do with the content creation. So you need to pick an environment or like a corner where you could just change the entire background. So whether it's the wall being painted or wrapped with something that relates to the product, or even having like 3D pads, which a lot of dropshippers like to do. So pick a corner, preferably different from where you spend time wasting it. So let's say you are a gamer and you play in this spot right here. I always love to say that you need to pick a different corner or a different room. And this is psychological, by the way, because your mind subconsciously will, even if you don't notice it, it's not gonna focus. Okay, we are living in a time where focus and energy is the most important assets. It's not even time anymore. So you need to preserve your energy, your focus, not your time. And not a lot of people talk about this. It's very true. How do you preserve them? Environment can apply to a lot of things, physical and digital. So physical, cut toxic friends or negative friends. Okay? And this is the very first step. If you want to take on a different path, you need to do this ASAP. And then digitally, it could be, again, with contacts. So you gotta go like, the lonely chapter. The physical, obviously, also where you work. So change up where you work to a different room or a different corner, and then empty it as much as possible. So it needs to be empty for peace of mind, and then no notifications. So cut the noise. This is metaphorical, so no notifications, no distractions, no bad influence, nothing. Okay, so environment is literally a 30-minute topic, but hopefully you get the point by this. And then here entertainment, also cut the entertainment, the video games. Next point. These are all lessons I had to learn, by the way, and I could talk about it for way longer, but I'm trying to speed run this. Next point is action. In more specific terms, content creation. You cannot rely, okay, this is me 2 years ago. I used to create content today and then try to comprovise creating good content with it for the next week. So I'd create today like 3 different videos, and then for the next 5 days I'll try to edit something or like split test something with it out of laziness because I didn't want to create new content. And what that did is it limited me to what I could create or edit, and I couldn't be more flexible on what's trending right now. So if there's a new trend, I'm not posting it. Instead, I'm posting the old content. So the biggest lesson is you need to do this every single day. And you may find yourself lacking every now and then, but trust me, if you create every single day, not only will it make you better at your content, but also you're going to be more up to date with what's working. So you're going to change up your movements, the backgrounds, the props, whatever it was that relates to what's trending right now. So it's really important to create content every day. So being consistent. Next is I want to see, did I get all the like the iron mind things out of the way? So you need to be ignorant, really important, by the way. You need to have a long-term vision. So let me look back at my product. You need to be very patient as well, because for the first month and a half I did not make anywhere near what I make now in a week. So what did I say here? Patience. You need to be patient, but at the same time you need to be urgent. So it's very tricky. You need to pick one product. Here's my honest advice. So let's say right now you watch this and you decided to make a list of 5 to 10 winning products, which you're going to run one of them. So you pick this one product and you set a goal to run it for the next year. So obviously you want to be patient with it, right? So you run this for one entire year, this product, from now till next year, regardless of the results. But then on the side, you're going to have these pump and dump products alongside with it. The best example is the blankets. So there's these blankets where people do like 3, 2, 1, and then they show them. That's a very good example, because these products, they take almost no effort to record and no time to edit. So try to record or like run these products on the side while you're running your SafeNet product. And not only will this will build you assets. By assets, I mean accounts. So you're building a big YT account, a big IG account, Facebook, and so on, by running that product for 1 year. But also, you're going to gain a lot of lessons from these failures on the side. And then maybe one of them sticks out, and then you make a big amount of, you make a lot of money. So trust me, if you actually put in enough work, you're going to see that you have a lot of time to run multiple products. So especially now that I have seen how much I can make with this product, I'm willing to put it on the side and run more products. So for January, my goal is to run 2 new products with this. And I like to always go like for a small amount of products. So something that's proven to work 100%, but it requires some innovative way of marketing or just outperforming my competitors. So yeah, I found 2 really good products, which needs a lot of work with the supplier thing because they're custom. And that's my next point. So at the start, you don't need any capital to get started. For you to pick a very good product, okay, the criteria, which I didn't know last year, but now I know, is you want to find something, once again, has a proven concept, but then is very flexible in something which is really important, but everyone just gets around their head. Nobody thinks about the angle, flexible angle. So what do I mean by angles? Let's say you run a product which the projector, okay? Let's say you run a projector product, and this was from last year, but now you're reaching a point where you don't know what to run next and you're desperate. So might as well run the same projector once again, since it's laying down in your closet. Take it out, take all the dust off it, and try to find an angle which nobody has done yet. And trust me, that will most likely make you either go viral and then convert, or at least stand out, although there's like a million other people doing the same thing. So by running a new angle of the same product, the effect of it is equivalent to you running a new product. That's how powerful it is. So this fancy untapped product which everyone talks about and dreams of, you get the same effect by running a new angle. So that's really important, and there's a lot of proof. I don't want to get too much into this, but this is really important and it's a fact. So different angles, really important. Another criteria or section of the criteria is variance. This allows you to build a brand by making more options for the customer to browse through, so higher CVR, and also higher AOV. So you could upsell, they buy 2, 3, so you're gonna have higher AOV, and just it will look more like a brand because you're not just solely relying on one product, which is desperate in my opinion. Next is it needs to be to have a passionate niche or a specific sort of audience. So anime fans, car fans, jewelry, clothing. But then the clothing is like the generic, and then you could pick a section of the clothing brands. So instead of just running a normal like random clothing brand, you could go for anime inspired anime clothes, or I don't know, cars, something. This is just an example. I'm not saying you should, but this is an example. So you get the point. Next is, this is a very like raw video, so I need to reflect on the spot for you guys. Since we've spoken about the psychological side of things, let's get into the technical things. So what actually got me the 1k days, the 20k month? It's the offer. So I used, once again, if you have a lot of variants, or at least 5 to 7 variants, you could create a very good offer of at least 2. So buy 1 and buy 2. And what this is gonna do is, surprisingly, it's gonna make it easier for the customer to buy, but then it would actually make it more likely that people buy 2, especially if you have 2 as a default one. So it opened my eyes because I thought at first I had the best offer, but then the moment I introduced this new offer, I used Kaching, and it just changed my CVR. Like, I think that month I like 3x my revenue just by adding this was like a while back when I got my offer app. So get this, and then apart from the offer, different point is the FOMO. Very important, guys. This is definitely one of the main reasons which made me a lot of money this Q4. So the low stock, everyone knows about it. This is like nothing new. But the timer, I've never had a very specific or urgent timer. But this time of the year, for example, Black Friday, I have witnessed how important a timer is, because I had a pre-Black Friday for the longest time. Everyone, for some reason, ran pre-Black Friday or early Black Friday since like the start of November. And they, in fact, ran the Black Friday sale on 14th of November. If you know, you know. So there was a lot of opportunities this Q4. Don't worry though, there's a lot more next year, but looking back at it, there's a lot of lessons, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. So you don't actually need to wait till Christmas for you to offer Christmas sales. Instead, you like I've learned that everyone's making the most money around FOMO because they wait for these, whatever it was, whether it's New Year's, okay? I've never heard of anyone making an offer around New Year's, but apparently it's a thing. So personally, I like to keep it at holiday or Christmas sale, but some people like to put it New Year's sale, for example. So the point is, try to find any reason for you to put a banner or a timer that X sale is about to end. So really important, and you could do it even early, so ahead of time. Once again, like the Black Friday, they ran it 1st of Jan as pre-Black Friday, and then for some reason they did it early. For example, with Christmas, I had pre-Christmas. That's when I got my 1K days. I got it on pre-Christmas, early December, and I had the Christmas sale between 20 to 25. That's when I had it. It also did really well. Now I have it as holiday sale, and maybe I'm gonna try New Year's sale. I'm not sure about it. I think it's not needed, but you get the point. Create some sort of offer, put a timer, put try to speak with your supplier, see whether there's a lot of stock or not. If there's not a lot of stock, one big lesson here, okay? Speak with them, and by complete coincidence, I wanted to show one of my variants as out of stock, but I spoke with my supplier, and he told me that, in fact, one of my latest orders was for a product which was out of stock. So I put that on my landing page. That same product which was out of stock, I put it on my landing page so that people would see this as out of stock, and then they can buy from the other products. So what this does, it creates a different sort of FOMO, that there's a lot of people buying, so you missed out on that one, but you still have the other ones. So this shows that you're a real brand, you're on demand, and it was a win-win. So it was actually out of stock. We emailed the customer, we provided them a different product, and they were happy because it was a more expensive product. We provided for free, like no difference in charge. So yeah, it was a good experience, and it taught me that showing, because there's a risk for you to put this as out of stock. They would think this is the best product and then the others are bad. That's why they're still in stock. But no, it's actually worth it because it just makes it look more urgent for them to purchase. So low stock or out of stock, put a timer. And then the last one is the launch. This is a very brand new way of selling, and we initially saw this for a very long time with clothing brands. So they would hype up a launch, they make the launch, they get a lot of sales, they put out of stock. But now we're starting to see this with organic, with like random products. So, and it's proven to work. So my goal for 2026, actually one of my custom products, I'm gonna try this strategy with it because it just makes a lot of sense. You hype up by, let's say you pay your supplier 2K or 3K. I'm not saying you need to pay capital to get started, but, and I'm not saying you could not do the launch strategy without capital, but if you have capital to invest, it's even better, because you could order a sample, you market the sample, you get people on your wait list, you hype it up, and then you launch it. So you could launch it with either a pre-order or with actual stock. Regardless, they're both gonna work, and it's a very profitable strategy. I've seen a lot of people do it, and I mean every clothing brand does this, so it has to be profitable, right? Moving to next point. This was a long point, but this was really important. Next point is, what have we not spoken about so far? Okay, I had to think about this for a minute because this is once again a very raw video. One of the top reasons I got my 1K days is probably because of the trust I have with my reviews. So it's really important to gather as many reviews as possible from your customers, and this is really easy when you actually have direct contact with them. So for example, if they come through Instagram, it's really easy to get the feedbacks. So you just need a minimum of, I don't know, 10 to 20 pictures, and that will actually provide you a very solid social proof. But also, since we're speaking about trust, one trick you could do is speak with your supplier and ask them if they have any private channels where they for logistics. So let's say to the US, they ship with USPS. Instead of having your checkout just showing like express or just showing like free shipping, which is very generic, you could actually create a specific name to the shipping label through checkout by I'm not gonna make a tutorial for that, but it's in your settings. You go to the markets, and over there somewhere you could find where you could select the country and then select how you would like the rates to be. So whether you want to charge customers from a certain country or make it free. So you pick free, for example, and then you call it something. So instead of calling it free shipping, you can call it USPS and so on and so forth. This will create a lot of trust because customers will see that you have something that's localized to them or catered for them, which will make them feel at ease that okay, they're ordering from a real brand. So yeah, reach out to your supplier, ask them what they have, and that way you can, make it look more appealing to the customer. Next point is checkout. So skipping cart. I've tried both for the longest time, and skipping cart is 100% better. Now, I'm not sure at what point would it be not better for me to skip cart. But for now, making more than 15K a month, it's definitely worth it. And I've seen a big difference between having customers go to cart versus not go to cart. It just makes more sense as well with urgent timings. So around Christmas time or any sort of time where there's low stock, the customer will understand why it's going to checkout. It's like urgent and like stock is low, you know what I mean? So it's good. Next point are the discounts. So I've tried all sorts of discounts. I think the best way is to keep your product expensive. So let's say your product costs $120. Instead of, for Christmas or Black Friday, instead of making it straight up down to like $90 or $70, for example, you could keep it at 120 or maybe 110 and then provide them with a pop-up message where you provide them like 25% off or 20% off. You do the math, and then that should yield the customer 70. So what you're doing is you're still offering them the big discount, but they would have to put in their email, which is going to provide you with more customers on your email list. But also, you would be surprised how many customers don't actually put their emails. So you're going to get people who pay 120 or 110 premium for the same product. So this is the biggest lesson I learned as well, because I've tried both, and you would be surprised. Some people would think just for the fact that it's 70, it's low quality. And this is another problem. So now I'm debating whether even making it down to something around that is even good to begin with. So perhaps you should make it down to 80 or down to 90 instead, because otherwise they would think it's low quality. So it depends on the product obviously, and you need to like test and see what works for you. But the point is, premium price with premium store with premium marketing equals perceived value, which is the next point. Are we at 18? Yep. Perceived value. Perceived value is everything for high ticket products and for brands in particular. And this is what I love. I think this is my favorite part of building brands, because all you're trying to do is get an ordinary product look extraordinary. So it's art, literally. You're creating content which is curated with a goal to make it look as high quality with a high perceived value and a high ticket price. So how do you achieve this? better quality content, better lighting, props. Don't go for like poor quality trends, avoid them. So the 3 to 1, I wouldn't say it works for the higher quality brands. It's more like for the small channels on TikTok. What else? Well, the other point is going to be 19 actually. AI. This will provide you a lot of perceived value. And this is actually what has saved me this Q4, because I initially wanted to go out and record outside, like do a photo shoot for my product, but AI made even better outcome without even having to leave my house. So this is a really important thing you need to learn. And I use AI Studio to create all the images, all the landing page images, product images, whatever you want, can be created using Nano Banana on AI Studio. I think now videos as well on Pro, which I need to learn. I've seen a lot of people do that. So perceived value, if you have problems with it, like you're trying to sell a high ticket product up to $100, $200, and you see low CVR, it means people are not seeing the value in your product, aka there's no perceived value. So you need to pump AI, create high quality content. And by the way, the more you use or the more you generate with AI, the more you're going to realize that your old AI content was bad. So me generating AI content for the first time, I was like, wow. But now looking back at it, it's not as good because I've seen how good AI can get. So use AI a lot, just like content creation. Do it every single day, or do it long enough for you to see what's actually good and what's bad. And then you could do A/B test. Let's wrap it at point 20. Let's see. I've given a lot of sauce on this one. I kind of want to give like a last tip for newer viewers. So anyone who's trying to start right now, the biggest lesson is that you need to stop chasing the shiny object. So you need to actually lock on one thing. So let's say this is, by the way, something which I had to take a while to learn. If you have a lot of things going on in your life and you're like 20% into everything, it won't work. You actually need to remove things out of your life so that you could be 100% on one thing. And that's when you start seeing more outcome or more results. So cut things which are not working or not directly and indirectly helping your main goal. So let's say your goal is to make 10K plus a month with organic dropshipping. Then whatever activity you're doing in your day that's not directly helping this goal, cut it out and stop chasing the views. So if you see a product going viral right now, don't just run it. Instead, check the comment section, check competitors, check them on IG. Do they have a brand, like a big page? You could even test order, see if they're making sales. Do enough tests, like do all of the following to see whether it's actually worth running this or not. If not, don't waste your time and run it. And honestly, quality over quantity. So number 20 is actually quality over quantity. And this is with everything. Quality over quantity. What do I mean? In terms of products, so I would rather run one product for 3 months than running a product every week, as long as this product has a proven concept to back it up, and as long as I believe I can put in the work to make it work with a different angle perhaps. So maybe a product is saturated, I would run a different angle for it, and then I put all the knowledge and experience with it. That will increase the chance of it working. So one product over 10, which are pump and dump. That's in terms of quality over quantity. But then also with content, if you create a piece of content which is so high in quality and that has gone viral in the past, what you could do is you could split test it infinitely. So that's why I said this applies to everything. So with marketing, since we're making most of our sales from Meta, you could actually repost. So you could repost them on trial reels over and over. It's gonna get you a lot of views. But also you could split test it. So change the text, change the sound, the hook, the final part, or even recreate the exact same movement, exact same everything. That's what split testing is. And that will create you infinite leads, because you created this one quality piece of content which has proven to work, and then you just keep on printing with it. So this is a wrap up of my top 20 lessons of 2025. And honestly, this is like probably the most sauce I've shared in a, I mean, every single video I try to share as much, but this is very in depth, and I hope you guys learn something new. And yeah, there's nothing much to ask for here other than you letting me know whether this was actually helpful or not. We have our Discord in the bio, free. We're building a Discord community because I used to be streaming on Twitch, so I'm actually merging both of them together, the YouTube and the Twitch. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you'd like also to work with me on my brand, so affiliate marketing, let me know as well. You could just comment or go to my Discord. Pretty much it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.